Have you ever been in a T-hunt or a deathmatch and your aim has been super on point and then you get into an actual ranked game and your aim just goes out the window? Well, there's a reason for that, and it's because of your positioning. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you how to fix this common mistake. So the first thing I'm going to go over is what exactly is positioning. Positioning is the art of being able to put yourself in positions or position yourself in an advantageous way to be able to give yourself more favorous gunfights. So what does this mean? Obviously, I'll give you a really good standard example. Positioning yourself in front of a doorway where you can easily get shot is a lot worse than positioning yourself to the left or to the right of the doorway in a corner where they have to swing you or you have to swing them to be able to get a gunfight. That's a pretty obvious example, right? So another thing I want to go over is there are different types of positioning, right? So a Jaeger is going to position a lot differently than somebody like a mute player or a smoke player or a Mira player, right? There's roamers, there's anchorers, and they all position themselves differently in accordance to their roles. So smoke players or support players in general tend to stick more to sight, whether it's opening the wall to get inside of the objective or whether it's staying and closing the wall and keeping the wall closed or smoking off enemies to keep the objective closed from attackers. Either way, support players are more focused on sight. Roamers and entry players, however, are more focused on the outside of the map, clearing all the players on the outside of the map so that the attackers can go in, or so that the people inside of the objective don't have to deal with the people trying to get in. Either way, very viable for both sides. So there's roamers, there's anchors, and general positioning, and I'm going to go over how you need to be using both in order to get the most out of your aim. Now, before you understand positioning, you have to understand map knowledge. I actually just made a video on this topic, which I'll put in the top right here, which explains all of the advantages of being able to utilize map knowledge to its highest potential, but I'll go over it in a simpler way for this video. For every single objective and every single site, you have to understand where the default push is. For this site specifically, in second floor of Oregon, there's either going to be a trophy and attic push, or there's going to be a white stairs and big window push. Either way, you have to understand once you see a certain amount of attackers on one place, you have to expect them to come from the other, and you have to change what you're doing on defense positioning wise in accordance. So let's say I know they're probably going to get the master wall open because they're putting a lot of pressure on armory, garage, and the main door downstairs. Because I know this, I need to position myself in trophy where I can hold a high power position where the attackers are going to need to clear me out and waste time and utility to be able to do what they need to do. What I see a lot of attackers doing, and this is a prime example that most content creators use, is people do not hold trophy whenever they're defending this objective right here. What's so important about holding trophy is it stops people from immediately getting the wall and master, but it also stops people from coming up the main stairs to be able to immediately put pressure onto site for free. A way you can play trophy is you can put a shield right here. And as a smoke player with ADSs, you can actually use your smokes to smoke off the door or smoke off the staircase right next to you. Another thing that you can do is you can hold armory and put holes in these two walls right here, like this. And now you can sit in armory and hold the door and hold anybody walking into the closet while also being able to hold the main stairs a lot safely and more reliably than you would by sitting in trophy. And then the third way that you can hold trophy is by putting head holes here and playing inside of attic. This allows you to peek the door right here, but also hold main stairs, and if they're not pushing from this area and they're pushing from attic, you can hold it from right here and kill anybody in attic. The only thing with this, though, is you have to play your life on this position, as if you back off, the people on top of the main stairs have a nice angle directly onto the shield player and inside of kids, which is not good for your rotations. That being said, you have to be thinking about key positions for every single site that you need to be able to hold to stop attackers from doing what they need to do, and it's the same thing on attack for defense. You need to be able to figure out where you need to attack and apply pressure so that the defense can't walk all over you. That is the key to positioning. Now that I've talked about positioning, I'm going to go over mechanics and how they tie into positioning so that you better know how to stop the number one mistake that I'm talking about in this video. So first of all, when we talk about mechanics, we're talking about aiming and movement with your keyboard and your mouse. That's mechanics because you're mechanically being able to change yourself in-game to get an advantageous gunfight or situation. So to be able to be a good mechanical player, you have to learn how to do things like quick lean, Shiko peek, you have to learn crosshair placement, you have to learn how to control recoil, you have to learn the fire rate of each gun, you have to learn how to move with each gun, which, you know, like I said, peeking correctly, being able to learn how to take gunfights crouching or standing up, or being able to switch between the two if necessary, and you have to know how to use your utility. These are all things that fall into the mechanics category. Now you may be asking, how is positioning getting in the way of my mechanics? Well, you have to be thinking about how you play normally in-game versus how you play in deathmatches or T-hunts. In T-hunts or deathmatches, you're a lot more kill hungry, you're willing to put yourself in more risky situations and positions to be able to get the kill that you want because you're a lot more confident, because you're less afraid of losing, right? When you're in a game, you're holding a lot more passive angles, you're not swinging as many people, and you're not being as aggressive as you would because you're not as confident as you maybe would be in a deathmatch or a T-hunt, right? And this is mistake number one as to how positioning can get in the way of your aim. What you need to realize, I'm not telling you to just go in guns a-blazing and just swing everything and be that one alibi player in plat that's hard stuck because they won't stop swinging everything and they're wondering why they're losing when they have the most kills. Don't do that. You're going to be a pain in your entire team's ass. What you need to realize is there's a difference between aggression and playing aggressively, and then there's just playing dumb and being way too overconfident. You can be a confident player that knows when to use his aggression without being a complete idiot. A great example of this is pushing the white stairs in the basement of Oregon. The reason this is a great example is because it's extremely hard to push up and gain ground here, but when you do, it's important that you act fast and you do it well so that you can execute with your team. What do I mean by this? Well, let's say you've pushed down the white stairs, you know you're not going to get flanked, you've droned, you have a nomad, you have a drone watching your flank, etc., etc., and all you have left now to do is clear out freezer and walk into the site and help your team win gunfights. Well, the way you do this is, first of all, you drone out all of freezer, right? So let's say I'm pushing down here, I'm a knock player, whatever, I'm droning this. Okay, this corner's clear. Okay, there's a player on top of the box right here. Now that he's seen me drone him, he's probably going to leave, but if not, let's just pretend he's not going to, right? So what I need to not be doing is just be holding here and just waiting for him to magically swing me or my bullets to magically shoot from my gun and be able to kill him, right? At a certain point, you're going to have to take the gunfight, and that's where mechanics come in. If you're at the top of the stairs, this is where you would normally jiggle, peek, or head clear, or if you've droned him and you know he's there and you know he's still there after you've droned him, however you may know that, this is when you need to learn how to pre-fire. Another mechanic that you need to learn, right? So what normal players will do is they'll come down here, they'll drone, and they'll sit here. Or they'll come down here, and they'll wide swing without quick peeking, without pre-firing, or they'll look at the angles in a different order than they should be. Instead of going from left to right, peeking one angle at a time, they're just swinging here and hoping that they maybe land their crosshairs on a kill, right? So you might have the positioning and the map knowledge to know, okay, I need to push down white stairs because that's a default take, and you might have the mechanics of being able to click heads and aim head level, but your positioning and your mechanics are not interlinked and they're not working together, right? Your mindset needs to be, okay, I know he's there, I'm going to use my position on the white stairs, my advantageous position on the white stairs, and I'm going to use my mechanics, pre-firing, quick peeking, changing the level at which I'm quick peeking, right, crouching, standing, and then I'm going to head clear once he's not there. I peek the hole here, I peek the hallway, I peek the hole here, I peek the rotate, I peek the prone angle here, I peek the bomb chassis over there, and all of this while I'm quick firing, you know, pre-firing, quick peeking. Sorry, I said quick firing, but you get the idea, right? You can't be using positioning or mechanics one at a time. You need to be thinking about how to use them coherently. That is the number one mistake. What a lot of players will do is they'll either go mechanic and they'll just be a mechanic god and they're not worried about the positions they're in, and they'll get caught lacking from a guy flanking them, or they'll get caught lacking by a guy on an off angle, or they're super worried about their position and they're in the right position, right? They're crouched here, or they're immediately behind this box and they're playing safe, but they're not thinking about how they can be more aggressive with the angles that they're taking and the mechanics that they're using. Like I said, once you've cleared all these angles and your positioning is good and you're using your mechanics, now it's time to get aggressive. And this is the number 2 tip on how your positioning is getting in the way of your aim. You position differently when you're playing aggressive and when you're playing passively. If I'm gonna play aggressive, I'm going to wide swing here with information and try to take the space so that I can get on this door and put pressure on the pillar player, and I can put pressure on anybody in sight, like the smoke player here, or people playing on the shield right here. What a passive player would do is they would just sit on this angle and wait for anybody to rotate here, or they'd pre-fire the deployable shield on the other side of this wall, or the head holes in the closet, and they would sit here and apply pressure to this side, when if you're a realistic defender, you're just not going to peek freezer and take the gunfight, right? So playing defensively and using your mechanics to slowly clear out freezer is great until you have control of the area. Then you need to be more aggressive with information and utility and actually start taking control of power positions. It's the same example in trophy. Once you've droned out master and you've used your mechanics to head clear the initial doorway of trophy and you're inside of trophy, then after you've redroned yourself, you need to be aggressive to be able to take the space that trophy provides you to take. With all that out the way, let's recap. Your positioning is getting in the way of your mechanics, or the other way around. And the reason that it's being that is because you don't know when to play passively and you don't know when to play aggressively. The second possible reason is because because you're not using your mechanics or your positioning in a coherent way. You're using them separately one at a time instead of thinking about using them both together in tandem. But that's pretty much all the points I wanted to talk about in this specific video. If you like videos like this, sub to the channel down below. I am definitely the channel to sub to if you want to get better at the game of Rainbow Six Siege. If you like the video, leave a like. My name's Alka, and I will see you in the next one. Later.